Hello, I'm Deborah Sword. We have a question from a listener I'll call Tom. Tom said he isn't a conflict avoider, so he engaged in an angry exchange with someone when he could have just walked away. But since then, he's been reliving the unpleasant encounter and wondering if his reaction was conflict competent. Whether Tom engages or not matters to the quality of his relationships. People know if you're engaging or ignoring or avoiding them, especially in conflict situations. Tom is having an experience that Tyson and I discussed in episode 15 about conflicts that live on in your memory even after they seem to have ended. So please listen to episode 15 after you finish this episode. When a situation like Tom's arises, you have a choice of reactions. I suggest that first you know your values or moral standards because values influence your choices. For example, in choosing to engage, was Tom's value to, for example, stand up against someone spreading misinformation, or was he showing off that he knew something? In one context, he might feel compelled by his values to engage, and in another context, he might feel it isn't worth the effort. Second, in choosing to engage, you have choices of how to send your message. You might, for example, ask permission, such as, "May I offer an opinion?" or make a joke. "I have a reputation as a know it all, so you get my opinion free of charge." Or, like Tom did, you might meet anger with anger. Third, in choosing to not engage, you still send a message to the other person. If you're uncertain about not engaging, ask yourself the H.I.T.A.M question. How is this about me? Maybe this conflict isn't about you. Then you decide if your opinion is important to give. If you're uncertain if your opinion is important to give, ask yourself, wait, why am I talking? You can ignore a conflict that doesn't require your engagement. And the message is that the conflict isn't about you and you have no stake in talking, and so you're not going to engage. Fifth, if the conflict is about you and your relationships and your opinion is important to the relationship, walking away avoids a situation that does require your engagement. Avoiding is one of 5 conflict styles. The 5 are compete, compromise, accommodate, collaborate, and avoid. If avoiding is your preferred style, you won't want to engage in a conflict unless you have to. You'd prefer to not engage even if the conflict does involve you. Maybe you fear conflict. Maybe you feel unprepared or that your skills aren't adequate. Maybe you're disinterested. It may be that you should talk and the other person wants to hear from you, but you'd rather not. In summary, when faced with the decision to engage in a conflict or not engage, here are a few of many considerations. What values do you hold that are important to you? Values influence whether you care enough to engage in uncomfortable conversations. If you engage, how will you do it? As a starting point, you may want to ask questions and gather information. If you choose not to engage, is it because the situation doesn't involve you, or it isn't your problem, or you have no opinion? Or is it because you're avoiding an uncomfortable situation, even though it involves you, but you don't want to deal with it? You make choices to engage, ignore, or avoid in a conflict that isn't about you or that is about you. And it's conflict competency to wisely choose whether to engage, ignore, or avoid a conflict with the goal of having the quality of relationships you want. Thanks for the good question. Thank you for listening. We hope you'll subscribe to our podcast, like it, share it, leave a comment, ask questions, and suggest a topic you might be interested in hearing us cover. Until next time, thank you.